So I was just finishing up a home workout, and I wanted to get a real life case scenario out for some of you guys who might be going through something similar here in your lives too. And I've had probably a good amount of caffeine this morning, so just gonna dive in and do this all in one take and see how it goes. Hopefully, it's organized enough for you folks to follow. So the client is 59 years old currently, and I have some small details here I'll upload on the screen for you though too. She has about 750K in retirement savings total at the moment, and the plan was initially for her to work until she was 65. So this is coming about 5 years earlier than we expected, which doesn't ruin the plan because we've been working together for some years now, of course. But it's significant. So, for example, she's a very high earner in upper management at a local hospital here. So she's pulling in around 250 a year in salary. So obviously, 5 more years of working would have, we just would have pumped the ball of our numbers even more so. But on a flip side of that, it can't be measured. With management and all that responsibility comes a lot of built up stress over the years and just some wear and tear mentally and physically, too. So yes, the money's always nice, I say, and it's great to max our accounts out and just see it grow. But maybe this is a sign. And again, we've had a plan and we're ready for it. So this, if any other folks are around this age and this is either happening to you in a forced manner like this one is, or you're just thinking about it more, it's normal. It's time to, it's time to start getting ready for retirement. So if you don't have a plan yet, find yourself a good financial planner, financial advisor, whatever you want to call them, and get to work on it. Start getting yourself consolidated, get a financial plan, get a tax done from them, work on your estate, etc. All right, back to this. So she's making 59, making 250 a year, solid income. We have 750K roughly in her retirement accounts. She is married. Her husband has a little bit in assets too as well. He's been on Social Security disability for some time now, so there's nothing there as far as income or backup goes. She was the sole breadwinner and earner for the family, of course. Mortgage remaining on the house there's about 200K total. There's a house here locally, and then there's a rental property as well too. So it's about 200-ish total, but a great amount of equity. The rental property cash flows. The mortgage on the primary home is very manageable too as well. And they're empty nesters, so no kids anymore. The kids are grown up and out of the house. Okay, so the things we have to consider here with this scenario is first off, it can always be a little bit shocking, right? So we'll cut through the short stuff first, which is what do we do now? Is there enough cash on hand? And by the way, this example, the cash on hand, we had about 100K in savings in the bank. So there's enough there to get us through for a bit. And that was always kind of the plan, just in case of an early retirement or whatnot. Because again, you can't touch a lot of your retirement money based on how you've done here. How you put away if it's in pre-tax money. Now she's really close because age 59 and a half is what I'm referencing for any pre-tax money. So that's pre-tax IRA, pre-tax 401k, 403b, just et cetera, all that. There are some fancy ways to get to it, but just if you want to keep it really simple, it's 59 and a half. And she's just turning 59 this year, obviously. So we don't have too long to go on it before we can touch these assets if we need to. Now, do we want to is the real question, because what's the impact on taxes on this thing too? When you start to pull from those accounts, especially if you already have money that has been taxed and it's sitting in the bank account, it's not going to get taxed again if you need to use it for cost of living to float us through these next few years and whatnot. And for her scenario, we need to float through for fixed income, assuming she doesn't return to the workforce, of course. We need to float through until age 62 at least, when we have a really healthy Social Security, even claiming early for her because she was such a high earner. It's pushing $3,000 even at age 62, which is healthy. So yeah, we can defer and wait, but that's one of those. It's a variable. We just don't know if she finds another job and she enjoys it. And, we'll see at that point. But for now, the plan is to claim it early and see how these next 2.5-ish years go, basically, as far as income goes. Now we're going to drain down on some of that bank account money, probably through lifestyle. We're going to budget hard. Yes. I'm not going to have them trim too much off their lifestyle and what they enjoy and all this, because really technically they have enough money here to make it work, because they're pretty frugal people. They have no consumer debt. left anymore. Again, just a little bit on each mortgage. Technically, they could sell the rental property and pay off the primary and just be done completely and have more cash in hand. Honestly, we're not going to do that yet either because we have all the power and the control in it. So we're going to and it cash flows the rental property. So we're going to hang tight on that for now. But we have that kind of as a reserve shoot, if you will. So first, we're going to use the liquid stuff, the cash, obviously, and again, there's no tax impact of that because it's already been taxed, obviously, when it was earned. Now that they might need, we might need about $3 to $5 grand a month, roughly. So it's 36 to 50, 60K for the year. So anyway, that cash will last maybe a couple years, right? But remember, we're trying to get her to Social Security, which then she can claim and pick that up anyways. So it kind of aligns with that. And then again, here in 6 months, we'll have access to her accounts technically to draw from without penalty. We will have tax on it though, right? So we're trying to kind of walk those lines, but really you should draw down some of that cash first that you accrued in the bank account more from a tax planning perspective, especially on that year that you maybe lose your job, get terminated, or there might be some severance accelerated into the year. So for this calendar year, when this happened, she's going to have a pretty standard or high earning year once more, of course. About a half a year's salaries in the books, and then she got 3 or 4 months severance. So almost a full calendar year, right? So if we're going to draw from taxable accounts, even if she was of age now, I wouldn't recommend she do it anyways. We'd want to do that probably next year when she no longer has that $250,000 salary. And she'll be in a lower bracket essentially at that point. Okay. So that's really the first thing you got to go through is when can you touch the money you have. Now, if you don't have cash socked away, obviously, and you don't pick up any work, you're going to need to probably touch your accounts, obviously. And there's it's rare, but maybe you could take a loan from your 401k if you left it and didn't roll it. There's the separate equal payments method of age, which you can establish that. Just that's more, there's a lot more legwork on it, obviously, and audit risk on taxes potentially if you do that. But that's one way. Or you could just eat the penalty. Some people do. They say, 10%. I make 10% a year anyways in the markets, so I don't mind eating it essentially. Okay. So after you take your severance, then there's going to be unemployment, possibly two, and or one or the other. Remember, those two are taxable still, both federally. The state depends, but those are basically going to be normal wages on the year, and there'll be withholding and whatnot on those two. The biggest thing in this scenario is going to be medical for these folks. So we don't have Medicare until age 65, and the cost of medical on the marketplace, for example, just healthcare.gov is it's right around the $1,000 a month or so nowadays, from what I see. So you're looking at $12 grand a year, right? Just to have medical coverage. That doesn't include any deductibles and copays and whatnot. So that's a big one. If you can pick up employment just to cover medical, even if it's part-time, that could really make it worthwhile to do a little work for a few more years if you can. If not, just be ready to pay that. Or again, here comes tax planning too. There are subsidies that cover a good amount of the healthcare.gov marketplaces. Plans essentially based on your income. So when it comes again to tax planning, you may not want to touch those retirement accounts that cause taxes on distributions on the way out, because if you can stay in a low tax bracket here, which you technically can, a lot of that medical cost is going to be subsidized on that plan. Now, not the first year is the weird part, because again, she's going to have a good calendar year of earnings this year when she was let go. So for 2025, and open enrollment's in November essentially of this year. So the first year might hurt a bit, but over the next 4 years, as long as she keeps her income low, she could have it pretty much almost fully subsidized. Based on how the rules work there. Last I checked, I think it was around maybe 35, 40K or so. If you make less than that, it's essentially just about free to have medical covered on there. Okay. If you have COBRA when you're let go, that's an extension of your medical. You can just keep paying that for 6 months. So we'll probably do that. And then again, search that marketplace next. And then we might have to eat some money on it the first year, but I anticipate we'd have a lower earnings next year, assuming she doesn't go back to work, obviously. And then we would have most of that medical subsidized. And then at 65, we're going to, obviously Medicare kicks in then, and we're good. So in alignment, basically, we haven't. So for her, we have, if we can get to age 62, awesome. That covers some fixed income. We'll claim her Social Security there. And she probably won't need to work then at that point. All good. Enjoy your retirement. We'll have, we have the accounts. We can touch those if we need. 65 is the second kind of big hurdle. Once we clear that, once we have that medical, of course, then we're good from there, really. And just to give you an example, that 750K in her retirement right now, if we just leave that invested and pick up a 7% rate of return ish, and we don't touch it, that will grow to about $1 million in 5 years. So that's really the plan. Then we would kick in distributions from that account at age 65 her if needed. So as long as she can kind of stay skinny on the budget and all that, just in just the lifestyle and whatnot for the next 3 to 5 years, we're good, honestly, in this scenario. Okay. Claiming Social Security early. Should you do it or should you keep waiting? And again, this scenario, I'm more along the lines, let's claim it early, especially if you don't work. If you do go back to work, you can't earn more than about 20K last I checked for the year, and claim Social Security early without some of it being withheld or penalized, as they call it. So you could technically claim it at 62 and then work a part-time job, make just under 20K and be okay still. And you get your full social at that age as well. Not a huge fan of waiting in this case. Social Security, in my opinion, is not, it's not an estate planning tool that's that wonderful. I'd rather leave her assets. I'd rather not touch her assets, her 750K, because compounding is kicking in a mega way. And, that is an inheritable asset that someone can take on down the road beyond your spouse even. So that could go to her kids or something she cares about, charity, friends, family, whatever. Whereas Social Security really only extends to your spouse in some manner. And, your spouse doesn't get both, for example. So it's not a great estate planning tool. Yeah, you get more for waiting, and there's a lot of uncertainty with it too as well, as far as funding. So could it be reduced in the future? Maybe. I don't know exactly. So why don't we just take it early, enjoy and live off it? Let your portfolio, the real stuff, keep growing and deferring compounding and paying dividends and paying interest, etc. That to me is a lot more exciting. Here's a question I guess sometimes. Should I take a large distribution to pay off my remaining mortgage in this scenario? And that really depends. When your mortgage is about 100K-ish or less total, maybe 150, depending again where you live, it doesn't really help you on taxes any longer as far as itemizing. So maybe we stagger. I've done this a couple times with clients where it's around 100K. We want to pay it off. We have plenty in the accounts. We just want to be done with it. There's peace of mind. I totally get that at that point as well too. And it frees up a lot of monthly cash flow by getting it done. Even though mathematically it might make more sense to keep it invested, having it done is a wonderful feeling. So what I've done in the past is we've taken out, it's about 100K. We took out 50 in December for that calendar tax year, and we took out 50 in January from our IRA. And so that way we split that distribution over 2 tax years and to mitigate kind of that tax hit essentially from the account. And that's worked out wonderfully. So if you want to stagger that over 2 calendar years, you basically just can do it back-to-back months. That's smart. Don't take it all out at once, usually like in June or July, because you're just going to, especially in that year, you actually maybe get laid off or have severance or have a high earning year. Like definitely don't do it right away. Wait until the next year, reassess it, talk to professionals, run all the numbers, and then also the non-math numbers, like how it feels to have it paid off. And but you don't want to take a full distribution, pay full tax on it, like in a huge bracket. And then if you're under 59 and a half, then a 10% penalty, heck no. Because then you're going to lose about half of what you take out, just a tax and penalty. And that ain't worth it at all. So, to net 100K to pay off your mortgage, you have to take out almost 2. And that puts a huge dent in your assets and your future growth as well. And it's a huge risk to longevity. Your portfolio might not survive your lifespan. So be really careful on those. Okay. Portfolio rebalance here in this scenario. Not really. This is more, they're comfortable with some aggression and always wanted more of a moderate to aggressive portfolio. And again, kind of running those numbers, her 750K balance over the next 5 years at a 7% rate of return, that pops up to $1 million. And with the plan in place, we kind of want that. We may not even touch it at that point either. May wait till a few more years or just stagger some manual distributions when we want to do something nice, with it. Because it just keeps growing. It's so powerful when you have that amount already. It'll just keep compounding for you the longer you wait, essentially, on your portfolio side. Maybe just cruise off the dividends. If you allocate a dividend portfolio and just chew off maybe 3% or so a year, that's a fantastic way to live and keep your assets in place for your estate. So I don't love a huge portfolio rebalance in this scenario. Again, you got to be careful. You can't go too conservative and outlive your assets here either. To me, your conservative money here, it already kicks in. You have Social Security, which is about as conservative as you get. It's backed by the federal government. Yeah, it has issues, but essentially going to get paid in US dollars. You already put into it over your whole life. Let's get it back out. It pays out a fixed monthly amount. You get a cost of living increase on it. It's basically a pension. So to me, that's a very conservative asset class already. And if it's $3,000, for hers, and the husband's disability is two something, so we're looking at $5,000 to $6,000 a month of fixed income. The equivalent of that in a portfolio size is around $1 million. So to me, there's already $1 million essentially that's conservative money. And so her other 750-ish right now too, it can definitely stay more moderate to aggressive. And so we pick up more growth over time too. Okay. And then last one, do you find work again or retire? And this one is, can't measure this either. It's just peace of mind, obviously. Stay busy, do get your steps in, take an hour, find podcasts you enjoy, books, reading, enjoy just like your time is your most valuable asset at this point. So enjoy time with friends, family, call people that you haven't talked to in a while, do day night with your spouse once a month. Yeah, whatever. There's just so much stuff you can fill your time with. So for a lot of people, you may not need to find more work again at all. You may be good to retire. Just find meaningful stuff to fill your day. And I can't measure that with financial planning or math really, but you can get it from someone's you can from someone's aura, their vibe or their energy. You can tell how they fill their day essentially. And if it's positive, meaningful stuff, then you can tell when you speak to them, or just again the energy they give off around them. So now some folks need to work, they get bored. That's fine. I'm not knocking them either. If you want to do something, if meaningful means that you're working somewhere, awesome, that's fine too as well. Just do what makes you happy at this point. You've done okay. You got 750 in assets. You have fixed income and Social Security coming up here soon. You're pretty much near the ages that you can start to claim all this stuff, use this stuff, and honestly be okay. Don't feel like you have to work much longer, or just go to a soul-sucking job for 5 more years because you could have made X amount of salary over X amount of years. It may be time to again, enjoy it, because time now is becoming your more valuable asset, not so much dollars or your earning potential around this point. Okay, hope that helps. I think I did it all okay in one take. For all the caffeine I've had today too as well. And it's summer here in Hawaii. So yeah, Hawaii has, I'm the home base in Hawaii, and Hawaii has 2 seasons. There's summer, and then there's a little bit cooler summer. So that's the winter months. Right now we're drifting into summer. So it's a lot more hot and humid. So I had to knock that workout out earlier than usual, because it's starting to get hot here again in our real summer. All right, you guys, hope you enjoy. Anyone else in this scenario? Again, my name's Justin. I run my own financial planning firm. If you have any questions on anything, I really suggest either reach out to me directly. I have a whole team. We manage millions of dollars for clients too. We do take new ones on that are a good fit, obviously, and who we like helping good people out. So if this is one of you, feel free to reach out always, or find someone locally, of course, too. It's time to get professionals involved in your life if you haven't already, and these numbers kind of fit your personal profile. You don't want to mess this up at this point. You spent your whole life saving and getting to this point in your retirement. So it's very, very important to reduce some of the risk of messing up by bringing on professionals in your life. You guys have a good one. See you later.